Well, coming off a nice weekend with 3 road victories, which is good. Another little minor injury, our 4th one, and a really daunting next 8 days. We got 5 matches in 8 days, 3 Power 4 opponents, and but we're still figuring ourselves out a little bit. But it should be a lot of fun. A lot of these are here in Diddle Arena, and we're looking forward to the upcoming challenges.
One of those challenges is going to be Vanderbilt and Indiana, obviously, in the weekend as well. Vanderbilt, obviously, new program. So what have you seen from what they've been able to do so far?
Yeah, they're so talented. I hear a lot of people talking about, the fact that they're, a new program. But honestly, if you look at college athletics right now, in a lot of ways, a lot of Power 4 programs are new programs year to year. There's so much turnover in roster and things of that nature. And there's no question that there's areas that they are developing still, but there's also no question that they have a high talent level. A great coaching staff. Anders is a good friend, and was the associate head coach at Kentucky, and we played many times in the NCAA tournament, and so they're a program on the rise without question. And their record to this point isn't stellar, but their schedule has been incredible. There are very few teams that would have navigated that schedule with a record that looked any different, including Western Kentucky. And so they're eye-poppingly talented. They're young in a lot of ways, and they're trying to figure themselves out just as we are. And so I don't think anything's off the table tomorrow. I think if Western Kentucky wins it in 3, you wouldn't be shocked. I think if Vandy wins it in 3, you wouldn't be shocked, or anywhere in between. And it's going to be 2 teams that are looking for a consistent level of play, but it should be a lot of fun.
Do you see kids assuming new roles, different roles? Is that evolving?
Yeah, we've had no choice. Taylor Barron rolled her ankle, and I just put her in the Libero jersey for the first time in her career here, and halfway through that, she rolls her ankle, and so that's our 4th injury already, and so we've kind of had to flex back and forth. And Gabby Y was able to play on Friday night and played really well. We rested Izzy, and then Izzy played on Saturday, and Gabby Y wasn't moving great, and it's just a patchwork thing, but it says a lot about our depth. We did some really good things. So as I told our staff this morning, we're doing most things on that stat sheet. We're doing at a pretty elite level. We aren't doing them all at the same time. One day, one match, we're a really good defensive team and we struggle offensively, and the next match it's just the opposite. And so we're finding ways to win, but we're hitting a stretch in our schedule where if we don't put it all together, then we're going to have trouble winning games.
Coach, I know opening the year at home for you was kind of different. You always start away. You said that you kind of like starting away. How was it to have those past 2 weeks?
It was great. Honestly, I think some of the best growth of our team, I know this sounds crazy, but some of the best growth our team has made over the last couple of weeks has been on that bus. Just spending time together and not having to always be about volleyball. And I think those were really connective times for our team and will help a young team. The more you get to know each other, the more you learn to trust each other. The more you trust each other, the more you trust each other on the court. And I think a lot of those things are slowly happening for this team. And, I'm still excited about where we're headed, moving forward. And it's just, Cam Mosley, one of our assistants, said this after our match against East Tennessee. She said, I just look forward to the day when we put it all together at the same time. And that's where I am. We're really good in areas, but it's really hard to get it all happening at the same time, which, again, at some point, I guess I have to accept that we're as young as we are, because that's a characteristic of a young team. But at this point, I still refuse to accept it. I'm ready to do it now, and we'll see how long that takes from here.
Offensively, this past weekend, it looked like you guys did a lot of it by committee. There wasn't really any player with over 20 kills. It was by committee. Is that by design or with the injuries happening? No,
that's who we're trying to be. Like, we're a team. Like, I was very uncomfortable with what you guys saw in here on opening weekend with the numbers that Kyra. I looked up and Kyra Knox was averaging over 4 kills a game. And I don't remember the last time a Western Kentucky player over a long stretch has averaged over 4 kills a game. That is not who we are trying to be. We are very deep, very balanced offensively, and that's what makes us really difficult to defend. And this weekend, you started to see it a little bit more. Faith Young had a much better weekend for us. Kyra Knox has been up and down, but had a better weekend again this weekend. So, Olivia Skidmore is kind of quietly doing the things that we assumed she would do coming into the year, and it's been a different middle every day, it seems like. So we're getting there. We just got to sew it all together and do it at once.
Anybody else?
On the flip side, defensively, that was another thing that you harped on over the summer. How did you think that area was over the weekend?
Two areas of defense we're doing really well. Our blocking numbers are excellent. Our floor defense is what I thought it was. Like, our opponents are hitting 166 right now. And for the level of opponent we've played, that's pretty elite. And our floor defense is great. Our blocking is great. But I always say there's three levels of defending. There's serving, blocking, and floor defense. And our serving has been exceptionally poor to this point. And that's something that will really expose us with what we have coming up over the next 8 days if we don't put more pressure on from the service line. Because when you don't put pressure on, then you allow them to play in system, and then again, when you're playing elite teams, it's almost impossible to stop them. And I unfortunately looked it up this morning, and we're in the bottom 10% in the country in aces right now, and that pains me to say. But a big part of that is just a willingness to cut it loose. It's being too careful, and we've got to be a little bit more competitive and a little bit more willing to cut it loose from the service line. And if we do that, I think it will only make us a better defensive team. And so that's certainly something that's a topic in practice right now.
Well, going back to talking about that depth, someone that stood out this weekend was Faith Young. Can you just kind of talk about the progression?
Yeah, Faith is. I'm such a big Faith believer. Like, I have always admired the talent ever since I watched her in club. She's not the most athletic kid, but every sport has them. Every sport has those kids that when you look out there, they're not as good an athlete as everybody else, but they just play the game one step ahead constantly. And Faith is that. Faith is such a skilled, smart player. And to be honest, and she'd be the first to say it, has done some really dumb things on the court for the first 3 weeks in terms of unforced errors. But she had a real breakout match against VCU in our last one, and I hope that springboards her now moving forward, because we're a much better team when she plays at the level that she played.
Looking ahead at the Alyssa Kavanaugh Classic, I know Indiana is a team that is, I think, undefeated.
They are.
So what challenges do they pose to you all? I know that's going to be a headliner Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a big match on Friday. Indiana's undefeated, may break into the top 25. We're right there together, both trying to break into the top 25. We're in that, receiving votes from 25 to 30 kind of range. And Indiana's been really impressive. Not only are they undefeated, but they've rarely been challenged up till now. And so it'll take a huge effort, but those are the fun ones for me. Again, those are the ones that don't hurt you. If you lose them, they don't hurt you. You move on. If they win them, they're obviously a big feather in your cap. And so it's great to have them here, but it'll be a huge, huge challenge on Friday night.